anybody ever wonder when they would see the sun?
What's up, everybody? So today, my order from aquariumplants.com finally came. I'll open that up, videotaping it. But first, or at least once I get all the plants out and make sure everything's there, I'm gonna have to do a water change because a sudden hair algae outbreak came out. So I'm just gonna siphon that out real quick before I put any more plants in there. And then, of course, the plants will combat the algae. That's because there aren't really that many plants for the amount of nutrients in this tank right now. Also, right now, this filter, sorry it's upside down, but I'm not sure if you can see that, but it doesn't have a bottom or a strainer, so I'm going to get a surface skimmer slash regular underwater strainer for that filter, and I'm not sure. I think I'll put it like right there. I mean that back glass, but this tank's looking nice. Other than besides the algae, haven't had any problem with snails or anything. Let's check the temperature. Temperature is 78.6 degrees Fahrenheit, 25.9 degrees Celsius. Gotta like the electronic thermostats. So I'm gonna do a water change, maybe 3 or 4 gallons, get as much algae out as I can, then videotape taking out the plants. Alright, so take out a lot less than I had intended. Turns out I didn't really need that much water to suck up all the algae. Just remembered I need some scissors to cut off some bad leaves, get the tank all ready for the newcomers. But before I go get the scissors, let's check out these plants. I ordered 3 or 4 pots of dwarf baby tears. Let's see, it's right here. This, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Hygrophila pina tifida, whatever. Pretty rare plant for the Americas. Usually you can only find it for like $10, $20 a stem, and you have to go to like hobby or conventions and aquabid, stuff like that. Lots of Rotala indica, or Rotala refundula, whatever. 4 pots of dwarf baby tears, also known as HC. 2 pots of Kryptonine Wendyte red, which is pretty close relative to these green plants, but I didn't have enough, obviously, and just wanted to give it a little boost. And 1 pot of dwarf hairgrass, just to fill in any spots. Let's open this up, and it's going to be hard to do with one hand, so bear with me. Alright, sorry for this terrible angle. I don't have anything taller, and my phone's running low on battery, so I need to charge it. Guess I'm going to do Rotala first. Prepare baby tears for the tank. I'll do the best I can to show you in this video, but I'll put a link to a really good video in the description for preparing hairgrass. I have showed you one. There are multiple ways to plant baby tears. There's just a straight out planting the whole thing in the pot with everything straight out, taking the rock wool out, and then just planting that. Probably one of the more efficient ways is to break it up into sections like this, and then plant those sections. The rock wool is kind of hard to get out because of the shallow stems. I haven't had baby tears since the 29-gallon was the my self-bred guppies and everything, which you'll have to go back see in my older videos. Never seen baby tears up close. I'll just see if I can show you. Stems are really short. It's a pretty nice plant. First I'm going to take this rake and I'm going to rake, shovel, whatever you want to call it. Obviously it's made it a bit cloudy, but it'll be fine. You're going to want to if you decide to rip up the baby tears into sections as I'm doing in this video, you're going to want to space them out about 5 millimeters, approximately 5 millimeters to a centimeter, or quarter of an inch to half an inch. Also, baby tears is a naturally buoyant plant, as all aquatic, or at least most aquatics are, and you can let it float in your tank and it will survive. So I'll take a little piece of that, let it float. Another thing I still haven't tried because I don't have any Riccia fluitans, but you can take Riccia, and since it is a floating plant, you can let it float, and when you trim up your baby tears and all the little stems float into a Riccia fluitans bunch, in a little while you'll actually see some growth of the baby tears inside that, as well as hair grass works with that too. Or you can just flat out plant the stuff in there, as I will once I get some Riccia. But for now, got some plants in it. This is actually covering a lot more space than I thought it would. That is a good and bad thing, because I might not have space for the rest of the baby tears, but the denser you plant it, the faster you get that carpet effect, so I don't know. For baby tears, I am personally leaving in some rock wool just because it makes it a lot easier to plant it. I've taken out some of the rock wool, or the rock wool on some of them, but not on most of them. It's just kind of an inconvenience. Fact on baby tears: it is currently the smallest, has the smallest leaves of all the popular, I guess you could say, aquarium plants, or at least plants that have been successfully kept in the aquarium. So that's pretty cool, yes. If you're having trouble having it stay in the ground, like I have been with a couple of them, you can just take some of your substrate, especially if it's a sand, which you should be planting it in. Baby tears is not a gravel type of plant. You cannot plant it in gravel. One, because my personal opinion, baby tears just does not look good with gravel. And second, and more importantly, it cannot root in most gravels. just because its roots are very fine. It needs to hold on to little fine things like sand, or at least very, very fine gravel, which is sand. Definitely cannot use coarse gravel. If you ever look at Dustin's fish tanks, he has a species Sunday on the baby tiers. He says, don't keep it, it's too hard, blah blah blah. Not that it's too hard, just the way he keeps his plants. Not trying to hit him down or anything, but the way he keeps his plants, baby tiers could not survive. It is definitely a higher rate type of plant that needs more care and attention, but definitely worth it in the end. When you see, you can go on YouTube, you can practically go anywhere, search baby tears carpet, you can just see what this plant can do. It is truly an amazing plant. What, again, all plants will die if not given the correct conditions. Wow, I ordered a lot. That's not staying down. There we go. Alright, on my last pot of dwarf baby tears, then I'll plant a dwarf hairgrass pot, and then I'll get on to stem plants. If you're wondering why I did foreground first, I just wanted to make sure I had enough room for these guys. Take this pot, bring it downstairs, put it in that tank, just to fill in some space. So, let's move trash out of the way. One thing I did not do, which you probably will want to do, is if you've got plants coming in rock wool and pots and everything, even if you don't, you most likely are going to have a trash can nearby, a recycling bin, just because it'll get a little crowded if you just have a whole bunch of stuff around. Some nice hair grass. Look at the roots on this thing. Right, nice and intricate. And going to this side. There we go. Plants dwarf hair grass. Again, dwarf hair grass, like baby tears, needs a much finer substrate. Move this lights out of the way. Much finer substrate to really thrive and tank. Its roots are small, shallow, don't really go that deep. Similar, just like baby tears. Even if you do plant it really deep, its roots are eventually going to find its way up when it's spreading with runners and everything. What else? It needs moderate light. Some may argue the tank downstairs wouldn't be really moderate light because I pump CO2 into that tank. I don't even do it very often. Like, it says fill the thing twice a day. I rarely fill it twice a day just because I can't get to it twice a day because I'm at school and everything. But what is that? Alright, so got it's almost all of my trash out of the way, and gonna start planting stem plants, which I told you in the beginning of this video were Rotala, Rotfundula, I don't remember how to pronounce it. Rotala indica, by its more common name, and a rare form of Hygrophila, or at least rare to the U.S. That I have no idea how to pronounce the name, and I got Kryptonine 1DT, 1NT, whatever it's pronounced, right here, red. Can plant some of that. Let's start planting the crypts first. Mainly gonna go right at this little, I don't know what you would call it, doorway, I guess. Aquascaping wise, you'd call it a doorway. anymore. Or is that it? That wasn't a lot of kryptonite. Or is it just buried? Whatever. Wow. This is the first time I've had any Hygrophila, and I did not know how tough or these stiff its stems were. Usually with the aquatic plants, the stems are kind of, I don't know, floppy, I guess you could say, weak. Just because they don't need to be strong because the natural buoyancy makes them float like this. But this has got a pretty stiff stem. I really like that because if it does start to grow out of the water, you just keep going and it won't bend over and do all that crazy stuff that stem plants do. Or at least most stem plants, as I now realize that this plant does not do that. Got some Rotala, Indica. And you're planting stem plants, more specifically thinner ones like Rotala Indica, Babka Carolina, Kabomba Carolina is Kabomba. But yeah, Babka Carolini, whatever it is, which is the stuff that I had downstairs that I ordered way too much of and realized I didn't actually like the plant. But then realized actually it is kind of a nice plant, but whatever, different story. But you want to be planting stems either individually and relatively close, by threes somewhat far away, or by small bunches of 5 or 7 pretty far away. Just because they seem to do well in those different forms. This tank will be a little cloudy from where you're standing, or not standing, but where the video is being filmed from. But I can barely see from that angle. I have to look from above the tank. This is some really nice Rotala. Again, if you're looking for buying plants, definitely check out Aquarium Plants. They're not sponsoring me or anything, just they have really nice quality plants. I ordered a whole bunch of Rotala Indica. Ordered a whole bunch because obviously I'm going to cut some in half and in thirds to make them into foreground plants. But first I gotta make sure this little space is kind of dense with the stems before I start doing that. A lot of the stem plants that you buy from the local fish store, even online, you're gonna have these little metal weights. They call them lead weights. They're not really lead, because lead would like kill you, or at least drive you mentally insane, and they'd get sued for that. But they call it lead weights. You're gonna want to take those off, just because one, they say you can leave them in there, but really don't want to. And I can't see anymore, so I'm gonna have to go above the tank again. Tight little spaces. I really wish I had some tweezers right now, or not tweezers, but yeah, tweezers. If you have the money and you're willing to spend it, go ahead and buy yourself some tweezers for planting stem plants and foreground plants like baby tears that are just hard to plant. But definitely get yourself some tweezers. I really wish I had right now. I could go downstairs, find some tweezers, but I'm too lazy to, and I'm making a video. So let's go. You guys definitely want to take the precautions to get rid of not get rid of algae, but prevent it, which means don't overfeed your fish. Don't pour too many nutrients into your tank for your plants, and have lots of plants is another thing. Plants, higher level plants such as actually all aquarium plants are generally higher level. Duckweed is a higher level plant compared to algae. Algae is usually single celled. I'm pretty sure it's always single celled, but just say usually. single cell. So higher level plants keep your tank looking better because they combat with algae for nutrients. And when there are no extra nutrients in the tank, you don't get algae. And that's one thing. Downstairs, that 10-gallon tank, I just did a video on it. That tank had a pretty minor blackbeard algae problem. By minor, I mean like there are only 2 little spots of it, and some hair algae. But as I said, I redid that tank and planted the heck out of it, and I've seen a little bit of algae, but that's literally tiny, maybe 1 cubic millimeter, just space. And if you don't know how small a millimeter is, get a ruler. I really wish America would switch to the metric system. Anybody in Britain or Europe, any place other than America, I admit I'm kind of jealous. You guys have a much better measurement system than America. I'm not going to defend our measurement system. It stinks. Who made this up? I mean, like 12 inches is a foot, and 5,280 or something like that is a mile. This doesn't make sense. But it is what it is for now. So I guess I'll just have to live with it. Unless I move to like Japan or somewhere in Europe where they already use the metric system. Now I'm just blabbering on. So, let's see. The next video after this, I promised a guy in my next video would be on preparing Amazon store plantlets. If you look on Dustin's YouTube page, he has 2 videos showing how to replant them. Personally, they're not very good videos. I wouldn't really recommend watching them. He's a pretty smart guy. Doesn't know much about the facts, but he has experience, and often experience is much better than the facts. In his case, it's helped him a lot. So yeah, next video, upon request, will be on how to separate Amazon sword plantlets and then replant them. That's what I'm going to start doing. If you guys have a specific topic you want me to talk about, let me tell you this, it has to be restrained to aquarium stuff. Plants, fish, lighting, whatever you don't know, whatever you need to find out. Just leave a comment or go to my page and send a message to me, and I'll get to it as soon as possible. And stuff. Try and answer your question as best as possible. And if I can, I'll show you a few examples of whatever I'm talking about. So that's that, and looks like it's time for me to start cutting the rotala into short sections so I can plant them in between hairgrass and dwarf baby tears to make them short little 4-round stem plants. Plant this little bunch. This method, it's pretty, I'd say relatively new to the planted aquarium hobby. People really don't think about it just because it's kind of you wouldn't really think about doing that. I've seen people do it. By people, I mean one person. Championship of some convention used Kabomba Carolina, which is green kabomba, the more common type, to do that, to make a 4-pound plant. It looked pretty nice because of its forked out leaves, making it look more dense. I'm pretty sure he's had a few fish spawn in there too. I have no proof of that. I'm just assuming that his fish have spawned because it's a pretty safe space to spawn from a fish's eye, in my opinion. Nice, tucked away, dense, planted place. I guess I'll talk about that right now, since I have nothing else to do. What was this? Breeding a lot of fish, especially scatters, which are minnows and tetras and stuff. Like neon tetras are scatters. The Galaxy Pearl Danio marcariatius is a scatterer. Practically any tetra type fish. By tetra type, I mean tetras. Piranhas are a type of tetra, just to let you know that. So tetras, rasboras, danios, any fish like that, they are all egg scatters, which means they do not provide parental care like not even like betas. Betas do not provide a lot of parental care, but they provide much more than these guys. These guys just lay their eggs and leave them there. Occasionally, by occasionally I mean very often, they'll eat their little eggs for practically no reason, just because they're there and they're food and they're fish and they are hungry. So they'll eat their little eggies, and the eggies will never grow because they'll be digested. When you're planting stem plants, mostly things that have soft stems, like anything but hygrophila, you're gonna want to stick their stems in at an angle. They will, if they're pointing at an angle when you fill the water back up, they'll straighten out once you shine some light on it for about a week or so, because stem plants grow towards light. But if you angle it, helps the plant stay anchored a little bit better. Oh, almost fell there. And I did fall. This tank's looking a lot better with all these plants in here. I really did this. So my first high-tech tank was a 10-gallon. And I guess this is going to be my second high-tech tank. It's from pretty well together. I do not think I'll be having an algae problem in this tank ever again, just because of the ridiculous amount of plants I'm putting in here. I am actually running out of space for these guys, and that is a good thing. If you're running out of space, that means you planted it densely enough, and you will not have algae problems. And of course I have all these hygrophila leaves and stuff. So yeah, now I really want to get that surface skimmer. If anybody has one of those like JBL or whatever surface skimmers that you just plug into your power filter, your internal filter, please tell me how you like it. Definitely thinking about getting that for this tank, because one, oil slicks are not pleasant in fish tanks. They look really bad. So surface skimmer would get rid of that problem. And if you have a planted tank, you would know that it's really annoying having all these dead leaves and stuff floating on your surface and just making it look not very nice. guys, so it'll be a while till this tank clears up, but it's already looking really nice.
Jungle, and I just realized that it is a jungle, but jungle in a good way because it's nice dense, and I think I'll
Narrowed it down to either a Agazi or the Peacock Gudgeon gobies. Agazi would be a nice contrast with the Rotala, and the Peacock Gudgeons would just be a nice addition to this tank. But definitely Danio Margaritius, the Celestial Pearl Danio, most definitely gonna be in here. Be in here. May even breed if I do water changes and everything. There's another secret. If you want your fish to breed, you're gonna need to do water changes much more often than your regular schedule. Regular schedule is once a month. Do them once a week for a week or two. Then do it once every 5 days if you have the time, or just do one big water change one day and they might spawn. That's what happened with my Peacock Gudgeons. Gonna try that again. So I think I decided on Peacock Gudgeon gobies. If anybody knows where Rotala indica, Rotala refrundula is originally from, please tell me. I need to tell. I know Crips and this Hygrophila are from southeast Asia. The swords, obviously, from Amazon sword. I think I might take them out. Probably not, just because they're there, and I don't want to really mess with this tank right now. But if you guys know where Rotala's from, definitely tell me, and Baby Tears. But I think it might. I'm definitely going with the Peacock Gudgeons now, because now that I see how dense it is, I could get 6 in here, no problem. Have them breed, maybe a problem, probably not a problem. But this tank is looking real nice. I'm gonna go get some Amaro water so I can start this filter, and hopefully it'll clear up real quick so I can see what show you what it looks like by tomorrow, probably the end of tomorrow. Hopefully. Also, I've got some floating baby tears in here. Let me find some. Go all the way over here, and I still can't find them. There. Right there, some floating baby tears. But as I said before, maybe you didn't hear me, but this Hygrophila looks really nice from above. One of these stems had some snail eggs on it. I don't think they survive, and even if they do, I don't really care. Because at this point, the snails would not really matter. The fish are smart enough. Guarding fish are smart enough to take the snails and just plop them outside their cave. If you have snails and you have dwarf cichlids that are breeding, or peacock gudgeons, not peacock gudgeons, but freshwater gobies, gudgeon gobies, definitely watch them just like pick up the snails and just carry them to the other side of the tank and just plop them down. It's pretty funny. So yeah, I'll go get some more water, fill this tank back up. Alright guys, so fill the tank up to the brim with RO water. There's some floating baby tears just drifting in the current. This hair grass is kind of ruined. I just realized how badly affected it was by that algae outbreak. I'm sure it can bounce back with the help of its new friends. Yeah, this tank looks great. Rotala could have been taller. Or at least most of it could have been taller. But otherwise, it was pretty good. Actually, kind of looks actually kind of looks nice better. Short. Whatever. But hope this hair grass can bounce back. Over here, I couldn't have been happier with the way the Hygrophila turned out. I mean, I just planted in everything, but it already looks really nice. if you look at it closely, it kind of looks like a oak leaf, which kind of looks nice. But definitely a great looking plant. And if you look at it from this standpoint, it looks pretty dense. But if you look at it from the stems, pretty not dense, I guess. Yeah. This would be a nice place for some fish to spawn. I have it back here. Would be a nice place for some fish to spawn. Just inside those plants in general. Underneath that piece of driftwood. Let me see if I can show you from above. Right in there would be a nice place for a fish to breed. Back there. So obviously this place is filled with a nice breeding habitats. I'm thinking about getting a black or white background. I think black would be better just because of the contrast. But I'll have a list at the end. You guys can choose from for color, fish, plants. I mean, not plants. Look at this tank. I've got enough plants. I actually, if you didn't hear me say the first couple 5 times, I ran out of space in this tank a while ago for plants. I mean, planted like half the rotala, all the hygrophila, both the crypts. Even before I finished planting the baby tears, I realized I had a lot less space than I thought I would have. And then once I started planting the rotala, got halfway through that, I realized I had like no space left, and I just started planting every plantable spot. So this tank looks nice, and I just realized there's some kind of weird echo in my room. Kind of a robotic, metallic kind of thing. I'm not sure you can hear it from the camera, but it's kind of weird. So yeah, this tank looks better than it did before, because there's no algae. I mean, there's still algae, but it doesn't look as bad. Whatever. I'll talk about one last thing before I finally go to the distance signing out. If you have a 20 long, actually any tank in general, any tank, yeah. Once you get the light that's meant for this tank, might just be this kit in particular, but before the kit that this light came with, it actually didn't fit. So like you had to use the cover that they gave you. It didn't fit on top, like from this little edge right there. So you actually had to use the little top, and I hated the look of that. It just ruined in my opinion, the kits, the top of the kits just ruined look at the tank. But sorry, I had the hiccups earlier, and apparently they're back. But I put this light right in front, so it kind of looks like it's closing off the tank. So I don't have any open stuff. And then of course, if I need to add dosage, I've got nice open water back here. If I just need to look at the tanks from another angle, if I don't know, anything, water change, when I'm just changing the water, not actually doing anything else. It's a nice open space. And final thing, I took some of the baby tears, extra baby tears that I had, planted it right here. Let me pick it up real quick. Right in this little place, in the Aqueon filters, Aqueon Whisper filters, Quiet filters, whatever they're called. But come with the kits, and this is meant for a 10-gallon tank, but it'll be fine just because the motor, even though I've had this filter for like I don't know, 4, maybe even 5 years now, the motor's still really powerful, pumping a lot of water through, and the plants help. The plants are in this tank are obviously the biggest filters, but just need a little extra water flow and stuff. This is why the filter's there. It's got some carbon to absorb any other stuff. Hopefully this baby tears baby tears can be grown immersed, just to let you know. So, like, if you have a paludarium, whatever, how you pronounce it, you can use baby tears in that. So I'm just going to see if it'll root in this, add some extra fertilization, filtration for the tank, give it some more surface area, I guess you could say. Looks kind of nice. Hopefully it'll grow in. Yeah. So I guess the next step for this tank is CO2. There's another thing I need you guys. The advice of my viewers. I'll just say that. What CO2, pressurized CO2 system do you like most for your smaller tank? 15 gallons to 30 gallons. What's your favorite pressurized CO2 unit? Or if you have some other means of getting CO2 into your tank, what is it? Other than XL, if you use XL, it definitely counts as a way to get carbon in your tank. I wouldn't really count it as a way to get CO2. Carbon is nice in your tank, like biocarbon is really good for your tank and really good for your plants, but doesn't really help in my opinion. Pure CO2 being diffused into the water, much better option. Can get a little costly, but I think I'm willing for a better pressurized CO2 system. Or if you use the CO2 carbon system, such as the Life or New Life or CO2 Life or whatever it is, it uses a carbon block to generate CO2 and diffuse it into the water. And people say they aren't good just because the technology isn't really needs to be improved before people can really start using it well, and it doesn't really help. So I think I'm gonna go for pressurized CO2. But tell me what you think is the best way to get CO2 into your tank. Thanks, and alright guys, so the tank finally cleared up, and cleared up a lot faster than it had in the past, but tanks look really nice. The little bunches of rotala everywhere, and then the rare agraphila really does look nice with the rotala, and this tank really good. Aquarium plants, if you haven't been able to tell by now, the rotala is really red, which means they're probably taking really good care of them where they're being grown, which is a good sign. Dwarf baby tears has practically no dead leaves. I couldn't find any. Okay, I found a few, but not many for all that dwarf baby tears. Still, I'm kind of amazed by how densely these hygrophila can grow, even from a few stems. Turn off this. Give you a top view for a second.
Funny how honey ain't sweet like sugar, ain't shit sweet. Niggas on the street like hookers, I tongue kiss her other tongue. Skeet, 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 water gun. Oh my God, Becky, look at her butt. Don't she? Now she want a photo, you already know though. Yeah. You only live once, that's the motto, nigga. YOLO, and we bout it every day, every day, every day. Like we sitting on the bench.